Thank you all for joining us on this Friday. We have a really great presentation from Fortnite to Big Mood, keeping up with teen trends. Got Jessica Sanchez and Leah Wayand from the Tulsa City County Library. Please keep putting your questions in the chat, and we'll take some time at the end to answer those questions for you. But without further ado, I am going to send it over to Leah with the presenter rights, and hope you all enjoy the presentation.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And like Kristen said, just throw questions in the chat and Kristen will help us track those throughout so that we can make sure to answer them by the end. So we are here to talk to you about how you can keep up with trends in teen culture and how you can apply this knowledge to what you're already doing in your library. We also have some commentary from teens across Tulsa County so you can hear directly from the population themselves. Most of the ideas in this presentation are scalable and able to be implemented whether you have a multi-million-dollar makerspace or a single bulletin board next to the YA section. We also want to jump in with this point with alternate and updated titles because we did title this presentation a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, we have from Vibe Check to Cottagecore.
Yeah, we have from Naruto to CEO of Dogs.
From Renegade to E-Boys.
And from Animal Crossing to Savage.
So, you know, pick your favorite and use the power of imagination to put it in the title. So I'm Leah Weyand. I'm the Teen Services Coordinator at Tulsa City County Library, and I oversee teen services across our system's 24 branches.
And I am Jessica Sanchez. I am the former Teen Library Associate at Tulsa's Downtown Central Library, where I led a variety of teen-focused programs, including zine making and podcasting. I also saw several hundred teens each year for building tours at the library.
So Tulsa City County Library is a system made up of 24 public locations serving 650,000 plus residents in 10 cities throughout Tulsa County. We serve urban, suburban, and rural areas. Some of our major teen-focused annual programs include Teen Team, a summer volunteer corps and first job experience that attracts approximately 400 teens annually. Our Teen and Tween Summer Reading Program, which counts a registration of over 8,000 11 to 18-year-olds each summer, and our Young People's Creative Writing Contest that has been running since 1985, in which writers ages 10 to 18 are awarded cash prizes. We offer several hundred teen-focused programs annually across our library locations, and we partner with Tulsa Public Schools so that every secondary student in TPS has a library card and access to public library resources. Another major service is our form-based Readers Advisory Service called Your Next Great Read for Teens, where teens can fill out a detailed survey about their preferences and receive a personalized reading guide with 4 to 5 author suggestions and 8 to 10 book suggestions. So in early 2019, we interviewed teens across the county from tiny towns to more urban areas, and here's what some of them had to say about how they express themselves and what they're into right now. So we're going to mute our mics and load this video presentation, and if it comes up without sound, just check the kind of the sound bar on the embedded YouTube clip.
As we discuss teen trends and culture, we first want to situate the population to contextualize today's talk. Given that they are minors, teens don't typically control a lot of their activities and environment. And in our county, where public transportation is sorely lacking, they generally don't have control over their transportation either. Because of this lack of control, creative expression becomes very important to teens. Additionally, this is a key stage of life where they are actively creating and exploring their identities. Teens are trying on different values and interests as a means of developing who they will become. Some ways that you can recognize this exploration of self is through their sense of fashion and style, from clothes to accessories, piercings and temporary Sharpie tattoos. Even a choice between different brands can say a lot. Teens also express themselves through the music they identify with and listen to, whether that's K-pop, EDM, punk, or classic rock, which has been making a comeback, especially with TikTok trends and challenges. There are other more obvious things like teens writing fan fiction, creating art or videos, and posting on social media. But also think about the more subtle forms of self-expression, like modifying video game avatars, which can be a way some teens create an idealized self.
So straight from the source. Before we move on to practical suggestions and tips for programming, outreach, and displays, we wanted to discuss some big picture thoughts that we try to keep in mind while serving teens. While we discuss nuances of teen culture, we want everyone to think about how we can honor teens' interests and not trivialize those interests, whether or not we adults personally understand them. As with every population we serve, we want to respect teen interests and culture. We respect that they're exploring their identity and that their interests may change at a pace that seems rapid to adults. We recognize that teens are not a monolith. They don't all like TikTok, and they don't all love Doja Cat and Billie Eilish. Honor teens as individuals. We won't always get it right, but the important thing is to show that we're trying. They'll pick up on that.
We have to give respect to get respect. You wouldn't disrespect your fiber arts club or small business owner for using your library services. But when a teen comes in and wants to make a how-to video about slime or cosplay, that's often trivialized. But it's important to remember that teens' interests are just as valid. We also need to recognize that we are not our teens' parents, so we can't act as if we are a governing authority in their lives. We enforce library policy, but we aren't paternalistic. We are their advocate in the library and the community, so that means we amplify their voices. When it comes to serving teens, you have to be genuine and sincere because they'll know if you're being fake with them. Don't go all, hello, fellow kids, on them, but also don't be an uninterested adult. Actively listen to what they're saying or asking.
If you make a display in your YA area for something like top 10 books for boys, you're going to get called out. It's out of touch and it's damaging to your relationship with your teen community. Teens have an expectation for inclusive language and diverse representation. This is the tone of mainstream culture, especially online, and teens are taking their cues from that. Think about the language you're using in your signage, displays, and social media. But also think about your verbal language in tours and programs.
Teens are growing up with an incredible amount of diversity and inclusion represented all around them, from serial commercials to blockbuster movies to YA bestsellers. If the content you create does not reflect this inclusion, it will not be well received. It's also important that we examine our own biases and engage with ourselves on this issue. For example, default to using they or you instead of a gendered pronoun to avoid making someone feel excluded or misunderstood.
Some resources that we've recently found helpful in understanding teens include the documentary Social Animals, the books iGen by Jean Twenge, The Teenage Brain by Frances Jensen and Amy Ellis Nutt, and teen influencers on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Journalists and researchers who cover internet culture, like Taylor Lorenz, Dana Boyd, Mizuko Ito, and Yelsa's own Crystal Martin, are great resources. Reading media intended for teens is also helpful, like outlets like Teen Vogue or the now sadly closed Rookie Mag.
I would say Facebook. Like, I don't know any of my friends that really use Facebook, except for like one. She likes to post cat pictures. So
Facebook.
Social media use looks different with Gen Z, which is usually thought to be ages 7 to 22-ish right now, where millennial social media use would be more personal expression, like here's what I ate today or here's my new haircut. Gen Z social media use is often more about creative expression. Personal details might be shared in the post, but aren't necessarily the purpose of the post. Gen Z content is more raw and authentic and less aesthetics based. Or if it is aesthetics based, that's the explicit like point or purpose. Like cottagecore, anyone? They might have multiple accounts that each cover different personas or interests, like a meme account, an aesthetics account, cooking content or hobby content, or even a gaming account as well. One popular style of TikTok video right now is to do a makeup tutorial or demonstration, but use a background audio that informs the listener about instances of injustice or little known historical figures. While consciousness raising might be a term most people associate with the 1970s, it's actually a huge part of what teens are doing right now. They are self-educating and sharing knowledge that isn't commonly taught at school. This is one type of activism that teens are engaged in, but they're also going to marches and protests and even organizing those protests themselves. They're signal boosting. They're using social media platforms to share critical knowledge about how to safely protest and how to keep others safe. They're recording video and being citizen journalists on the ground.
TikTok is one of the most popular social media apps with teens and tweens right now. Even with some of them deciding there's too many adults on, it's still extremely popular with pretty much all of them. And it's fundamentally different than other social media platforms. It's easier to go viral on TikTok, both because of the algorithms of the platform, the For You page, and because of the viral nature of challenges and popular audio tracks. The editing tools in this app are also much more powerful than in other apps. So teens are able to create better content that they can then share on other platforms. From audio tracks to video editing, they're able to produce extremely individualized content. There might be a challenge that everybody, uses the same audio or something, but each user really puts their own stamp on it. TikTok also isn't as social as Instagram. It's more like YouTube in that way. People don't use it to follow friends as much as they use it to follow influencers and create their own individual content. And TikTok is also the birthplace of pop culture trends. Half the songs you hear on the radio right now are popular because of TikTok. Lil Nas X catapulted to mainstream success because of TikTok. Think about Megan Thee Stallion's Savage or Doja Cat's Say So. Dalgona coffee, quarantine haircuts, dance challenges. TikTok is producing a whole language outside of itself. So this is the point where people are possibly wondering, should my library get a TikTok account? We actually do not recommend it. To us, it's more important that you be knowledgeable about this platform and about where your teens are getting their latest interests, hobbies, and memes. But it's a lot to keep up with. If you were going to set up an account, you'd need to fill it with relevant content, and it's super easy to miss the mark and use an outdated, off-trend audio or challenge. You would need to spend at least a few hours a week just doing TikTok, just researching trends and then creating content. And we don't usually have that kind of time. What the ideal situation would be to have an account that your library's teens were in charge of. That would require even more time in terms of oversight. Plus, there are some security issues with the app, and it might actually go against your organization's guidelines or practices to set it up. So if you can, cool, but that's not something that we think is super important to do necessarily.
If you have Instagram, you can look at the Explore feature to get ideas for what's hot right now. Despite personalized algorithms that strive to display users' personalized content based on their interests, the most popular videos and posts still rise to the top there. If you don't have it, just Google search Instagram accounts with high followers or Google a brand's Instagram account, because Instagram is where teens interact with brands the most. For example, accounts with a high number of followers are able to post links to online shops. Take a tip from these companies and utilize social media platforms to link third-party sites like your website, catalog, or even online services. Because parents of teens follow the library on Facebook and Twitter, we still need to be using those platforms, but we can't stop there. If you don't have the control to create an Instagram account for your library, try adopting the app's language into your displays or programs and descriptions. Imagine a book display themed Star Carter's Instagram or Lara Jean's Instagram.
In a similar vein, look at YouTube's front page. Find out what channels or YouTubers are favorites among your teen customers. You can make that into a passive program by putting it out as a whiteboard or a poster question. Teens use YouTube for a vast array of reasons, from beauty channels to DIY to conspiracy videos to activism. Outside of recommended videos based on your usage, YouTube's trending page gives good insight into pop culture, popular YouTubers, and videos with the most views. You can always sign out of your YouTube account. Note that your Gmail links to YouTube, so you need to sign out to get a fresh feed, meaning no ads are tailored to you. I mean, other than normal internet tracking ads. No ads are tailored to the videos you watched. You can also use YouTube to look at compilations of popular TikTok videos or other viral content, if you don't want to actually get a TikTok account. Again, adopting the language of YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok can help connect teens to your message, whether it's advertising for a program or making a book display.
My favorite YouTuber is me. Yeah, but I don't make that many videos.
I hang out on the DIY side of YouTube a lot.
BuzzFeed is also another source for finding out what teens are into. Like, teens aren't really on BuzzFeed, but teen interests and culture are. So there's writing and recap about movies and TV shows of high interest to teens, like Dark or Naruto or Euphoria. There's celebrity coverage, articles about apps, pop culture trends, memes, and just anything that's hot and of the moment. Just kind of scroll the front page. And then use similar verbiage to how they title their posts. Like, you can use that for signage and displays in your own social media posts. This company has poured a gazillion dollars into marketing, so you can take notes from that.
You can also check out what's trending on Netflix and make displays that go along with popular shows. Netflix is a great place to stay up to date on the latest film adaptations of YA literature that go viral, like Love, Victor or All the Bright Places.
Um, Figure out what fandoms your teens are into and offer programs relating to that, whether it's Marvel or My Hero Academia. You can offer the same craft programs that you already have supplies for, but with an Avengers twist. Create a display of Netflix read-alikes. If you like Love, Victor, try these. Make a display based on the It movie of the season, like The Old Guard. Use sticky notes, bulletin boards, chalkboards, whiteboards to pose a question and let people walk by and answer. People like to give their opinions. And it's less a formal, it's a less formal and a lower pressure way to ask them than at the desk or in a program. That you should also be doing that. But especially if they don't want to tell their interest in front of people, like My Little Pony or something like that. Interactive whiteboards are so great. Ask things like, who's your favorite musician, or what YouTube channels are you really into right now? Also, remember to get program and display ideas from all those websites and platforms that we discussed earlier. YouTube is practically the new Pinterest as far as program ideas and craft tutorials go.
And also just be aware that whenever you ask them, what's your favorite TV show, your teens are most likely going to assume you mean a literal television set. That's what I found out in filming those clips. When I said, what's your favorite TV show? I meant, what do you like to watch? But they thought, well, what's my favorite show that I'll watch on television? So just be aware that some of those, different platforms and stuff might not get thought of. So you can rephrase it to what's your favorite show, because you'll get a more comprehensive answer. And they're watching content on computers, tablets, and phones, and hardly ever actual television. You also want to relate your services and equipment to their interests. During high school tours of Central Library, when I would take teens to our audio recording studio, I would casually mention that that it could be used to record ASMR videos. And that always got a double take, ASMR is like a teen secret or something. Don't discount services that might not seem teen-centric at first glance, like microfiche. Teens may enjoy exploring vintage tech, and it's featured prominently in some popular TV shows lately, like Stranger Things. When marketing your library and programs, be mindful that teens are super into aesthetics and looks right now. Remember, this is the Instagram and TikTok generation, so choose beautiful or striking covers for displays and social media. Everything is an advertisement in the information age, and you have to compete and cut through that noise. you need to up the visual quality of your content. Try using a free and easy graphics program like Canva. We live in an age of advertising. Whatever message we are trying to send can be lost and drowned out by other ads. Make sure your visual content is the highest quality at your disposal. And when you're taking pictures, make sure your object of the photo is in focus. I know that might seem simple, but it's always good just to double click on that. Take multiple pictures if you have to. That way, if one's bad, you have at least one good one in there. And then also just be aware of your background. Are there trash cans in it? Is it too busy? Is there too much going on? Be sure that it doesn't detract from the intent of the photo. And then, is your photo too dark or too bright? Be mindful of that contrast. Switch the backgrounds to even out the lighting if you need to. For example, if you're taking a photo in front of a window, use the natural lighting to illuminate the subject instead of the lighting being behind the subject.
Be careful with memes. Used correctly, a meme can provide instant credibility and connection. But if you don't really know the meme, do not use it. Also, be sure that your meme doesn't have negative or problematic connotations. So a useful resource is knowyourmeme.com. It's like the Urban Dictionary of memes, but more reliable. Use your teen advisory board or your teen customers to vet memes that you want to use on displays or posts. They'll tell you if you miss the mark. In fact, have your teens help create your content, marketing, and displays. Give them ownership and raise your library's credibility.
When it comes to promotion, buy ads if you can. Devote a small portion of funds to promote library programs year-long. Promote big events on Facebook and big events and new services on Instagram. A little bit goes a long way for more exposure.
Make your collection super diverse and culturally relatable, both your YA literature and film collections. Create read-alike displays or posters or social media posts to highlight your collection. You could do displays or posts based on Netflix shows or emojis or Wattpad and fanfic favorites. Use the awesome YA classics in your collection for Throwback Thursday. And we mean Maureen Johnson and Walter Dean Myers and Sarah Dessen, not Judy Blume. Not that Judy Blume isn't important, but your favorite YA books from 2005 are 15 years old now. Those are the classics. Rebrand your reader's advisory. KitchenSinkRA.com is a great resource that can help you think about what kind of books might go with apps or video games or television shows.
You can do nonfiction displays geared around self-instruction and a DIY ethos. Remember, this generation loves YouTube. They teach themselves everything from fishtail braiding to cooking to cell phone repair. You can also rebrand what you already have. Use books on rap history and poetry for a So You Want to Be a SoundCloud Rapper book display. Snapchat users can have streaks with one another. Use this phrasing to promote a series of books. Tape pictures of emojis to covers of books for a display. Hard eyes for romance, laughing face for comedy, or a ghost for horror. As we wrap up this presentation, remember that teens are not a monolith. As we've seen in the videos, some like sculpting and art and some like GTA 5, and there's no way to know what a community wants besides asking them. Respect teens when they enter your library and don't trivialize them or their interests. Respect their identity, even if it is changing week to week, and advocate for them within your library and community as an ally and not a parent.
Your programs, displays, and services will have limited success with teens if you're not actually listening to them. So now we're totally ready to go through any of your questions, and you can like type stuff in the chat, or you can always email us. Our email addresses are on this last slide here. But yeah, if you have more questions, let us know. Okay, so Kristen, definitely let us know if there were any questions previously in the chat that we missed. Let's see. Tell me more about Big Mood. Jessica, do you want to take?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I feel like, in preparing this presentation, we try to put our most professional self out there and our voices, but with Big Mood, I'm going to get very casual because I don't know how to explain it outside of that. But Big Mood is like when you like very much agree with something, or you're like, yes, like that is what I want, or like that is exactly what I'm feeling.
Right.
That's what I got.
Relatable or whatever.
Relatable. Yeah.
Jessica and Leah, we don't have much teen traffic in branch. How often do you all do outreach or offsite teen programming? So that kind of just depends by a few different factors. Like part of that is what the desk schedule can allow at different locations, and kind of what we are able to, who we're able to connect with for offsite things. But we do have a few book clubs like in the schools that people do during the year. So the school librarian and our public librarian will partner together to do a book club in the school. And we'll sometimes take our program kits out to those visits as well. So we have some different program kits that the different branches can check out with stuff like art supplies or robotics or different things like that. I would say that, like, as far as how often do we do it, I think that we really try to hit every single school in the county at least a couple times a year in terms of trying to go visit with the school librarian and develop a relationship so we could come in more frequently and put up posters or get our information about programs in front of people. The focus, like, the point of outreach is to get teens into the branch, but you have to be there for when they then come there. So it's like definitely a balance. Jessica, what's your take on that?
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. And operating in the COVID world right now, it's going to look very different. But yeah, really just back at what you said.
So I see Grayson's question, what is one of the biggest challenges working with teens and how do you handle that? What do you think, Jessica?
So, I mean, one of the biggest challenges working with teens, I mean, that you might not have that many, or that the teens that are there are technically tweens. So I really think that, if someone comes up to your teen program and they are within that teen and tween age range, it's just to not discount that they're there. They might be young. Like one time I was doing a podcast program, which you really needed to be at least 14 for it and have some knowledge of computers a little bit, but I had like a 11-year-old there, and so just in that moment having to rethink how I was going to approach presenting that program. But it worked out really great. And he was the only one that showed, and we were able to create his own little podcast. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges is just that there are not always that many that come. I haven't had any other challenges with like behavior or anything like that. I think treating them with respect kept a lot of that, maybe like the attitudes that people associate with teens and things like that. They definitely kept that at bay because I just treated them like they're a person and was respectful to them. And I feel like I always got that in return. But for me, the biggest challenge was either not having teens show up or just having a couple. And that's just kind of the name of the game in teen services sometimes.
I think another challenge that maybe we don't talk about as much too that I've seen is one of the big challenges for me, I guess, is like, what do you do when a teen in your program says something that is either insensitive or outright racist or sexist or homophobic or things like that? How do you handle that in a way that helps them understand that what they said was not acceptable, yet, and shows the other teens in the program that this is a safe place to be and that we don't tolerate that kind of thing here, yet at the same time not shaming them when what they said as a 12 or 13-year-old was very likely out of complete ignorance and thoughtlessness and maybe not understanding the situation at all. So a lot of that is gently but firmly and decisively saying like something about what they said being not okay, and then immediately pivoting the conversation, like unless it is something that's more egregious and needs to be dealt with like more explicitly and openly, like with the rest of the group, right? So there are levels to things that people can say, that teens can say, where sometimes you might be able to say, that's actually not true, and that's not the kind of thing that we say here. And then moving to, so what did you guys think about the latest chapter of Naruto that came out, or something like that? And just kind of quickly moving on. Or it may be something that requires a lot more attention, and you may have to say, hey guys, quick time out, we need to stop and talk about that. But the important thing is to really have that demeanor of respect, like Jessica was saying, for everyone, and setting the tone and the ground rules. One way that you can also combat that is to, at the start of each of your programs, just have a quick, here are our ground rules for this program today, and maybe that's like phrases like, the platinum rule, treat others how they want to be treated, because how treating others the way you want to be treated isn't necessarily how they want to be treated. So it's the platinum rule instead of the golden rule. And like, don't yuck my yum, and like respecting each other, etc. And then asking them, do you have any ground rules that you would want to bring up, or do these sound good to you? Okay. And then everybody's like on the same page.
We did have a question from Bailey. She says, we were just building our teen programming, and now with COVID, we haven't had any luck with virtual programming via Zoom or anything. Any ideas on how to engage teens during this time, especially teens who weren't involved before?
That's definitely can be really difficult, because we had, our virtual programming that has done the best at the start was from those folks who already had built up email contact lists from teen programming previously. And one way that we are able to build up those contacts is our summer teen team program. So for our teen volunteers, that ends up like sometimes being the core of our teen attendance, and then they bring in their friends and it spreads word of mouth and all of that. So definitely the ones that started off stronger were ones that had already built up that email list and were able to contact them. But we have had some other branches being able to start building up virtual programming via Zoom and things like that through some word of mouth. One thing that we did is we started a new teen Instagram account. So you can go follow us at TCL_teens. Mostly we post about like programs or services or things like that. And then we ended up doing, as a part of our virtual SRP, we made a bingo sheet, and one of the squares on the bingo sheet was go follow us on Instagram. So we tried to kind of build up even more of an audience that way. And then there were several Zoom programs that maybe had 2 or 3 kids. One thing you can do is promote the event on Facebook. Teens are not on Facebook, but their parents and educators and caregivers are. So you can like promote the event and the parents see it, and then they tell their teens sometimes, and then the teens will like sign up or come to it. And we've had success with like our virtual bake-alongs that way. So that's another thing. Kind of getting really high interest programs like how to draw and things like that. And then, like I think Jason said in the chat earlier, like going where teens are at, like in, you know, non-pandemic times, that would be like after school meetings, like Jason was saying, and clubs and sports teams and youth groups and things like that. During pandemic times, that could be maybe handing out flyers with the school delivered lunches. That's been, you know, one way that I've seen some libraries do that. Maybe it's worth it to buy like $5 worth of ads on Instagram to advertise a program and see if you can get people. Try to reach out to any teens you know, and nieces and nephews, anything like that, and see what they advise. Maybe you can advertise a giveaway, like a $10 gift card to Brahms or Sonic or something. For whoever, you know, shows up, we'll do a drawing at the end, that kind of thing.
All right, so we've got about 3 more minutes left, so time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. If anyone has anything else they would like to ask Jessica and Leah.
I did want to just read Jennifer's really fast. It says, I've had success pre-COVID by building a relationship with a couple of teens, got them to suggest an activity they could do in the meeting room, and then let them invite their friends. Numbers were slow to start, but it grew to sometimes 20 kids coming after school to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just want to affirm that and say, yes, yes, yes. Teen-led programs are going to be a million times better than what we can do every single time, because they know their friends, they know their audience.
Well, I don't think I see any more questions right now. So you guys can always email us, and you can download the presentation in the conference portal. Sorry, Chris, I'm probably stealing your speech, actually, so I'll just turn it over to you. Thank you guys so much for listening to us go on, and you can definitely email us whenever to ask questions.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you so much, Jessica and Leah. And yes, definitely the slides and handouts are available in the conference portal. Once again, if you have a minute, if you could do the survey just so we can get your feedback. And don't forget to check out those endowment baskets, as well. That goes till 2 o'clock. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the conference.